let's take this big picture then. So, RC, I'll start with you on this one. Is it Illinois, who whipped Rutgers this past weekend? Is it Ohio State, who appears to be improved? Is it Northwestern, who shocked us here and has returnees from that team? Is it somebody else? Is it still Michigan State that you're buying? Who is going to be the second best team in the Big Ten?
Hell, is it going to be Wisconsin? Like shit.
Right.
I mean that's another team you can throw out there. I'm still going to, when it's all said and done and it matters. I'm not going to completely. I just can't leave Izzo on Michigan State. But I think the best resume so far, I would give to Wisconsin. I think their wins early on. I think who they beat Virginia. I think they beat the brakes off Virginia.
Yep.
Early on
Marquette.
here in Marquette. So I like their two wins early here in the season, and for a couple of these teams, and we're going to get into it. I don't think they've played anyone yet. They're going to have to get tested in conference play. So I would, if I had to bet now, I won't bet against Izzo, but Wisconsin has looked really good. But I'm going to stick with Michigan State. I just think they'll be there when it's all said and done.
I do think Illinois has got a shot. I think they're better. But, I mean, I think we're kind of all talking in circles. And the point I think you want to make, John, is there's just
Yeah,
okay. Like, there's a
yeah,
massive drop
yeah,
off, right? You got, like,
yes,
you
yeah,
got one team that can win a national championship. And then you got, like, so, whereas the Big East, for example, which I'm sure we're going to circle back around to, right? Like the Big East, you got like, well, UConn's really impressive and Marquette's really impressive. And I don't know what's happening with Nova in the Big Five, but outside of that, they've been really impressive, right?
Creighton.
And who am I forgetting? There's somebody else at the top of the
Creighton.
Big East that huh?
Creighton.
Creighton too.
Oh, and I saw Creighton in person. Kalkenbrenner, by the way, does the same. Like that would be an insane matchup. The difference is Creighton just does not have the bench.
Right.
But
Yeah, that's right.
that matchup would be amazing. Creighton versus Purdue, like Elite Eight type matchup. That would be incredible shot making and two above 7 foot centers that could obviously Edie's far more advanced offensively, but I think Kalkenbrenner is probably better defensively, and the way they funnel everything to him, it's fantastic. Anyway, this league it's top heavy only in one team, and the rest is they're going to beat each other up. They're going to can't. It's going to be like that movie Alive, where they're going to be picking the meat off each other. And then you figure, I mean, I kind of think that Michigan State will be the second best team. They just won't have the second best record. And also keep in mind that those of us who really study this stuff and we're obnoxious about it, the schedules aren't the same. So
Right.
do you play Purdue? Do you play Purdue once and only play them West Lafayette? You ain't winning that game, right? Do you play IU? IU's a little bit better at times than we thought, especially with Xavier Johnson now. It seemed to get back to where he was. So the point is that you're scheduled. Like, do you play Minnesota twice? Do you play Nebraska at home or on the road? That's what determines the second. But I think Michigan State is the second most dangerous team, assuming that Izzo figures out how he wants to do what he wants to do.
So I do want to follow up there. One, how does Tom Izzo figure it out with Michigan State? And two, they only have one more marquee non-conference game. It's against Baylor. It's in Detroit. It's a week from Saturday, December 16th, which is the best day of the season with Purdue and Arizona, with Indiana and Kansas, with Kentucky, North Carolina. 90 seconds here, Doug. Where do you fall with Michigan State? Do you think that they're going to get this right? And what will it be that gets it right if Izzo does get it right?
I mean, I think he's got to figure out which of the young guys can
Gonna help him.
evolve and get there. And it's probably only going to be one, maybe one off the bench. That's just the reality of this thing. All these teams we talked about, what do they all have in common? They all got veteran, experienced players, grown men. So if it's Fears, I would be a proponent of Fears because I think the other guards are more score-oriented guards. And I think you can play him and A.J. Hoggard together. You don't have great shooting between the two of them, but I think they'll make everybody else better. He has great lineup versatility, and the one guy who seems to be able to figure these things out by the end of the year is Tom Izzo. Regardless of, I don't think they're beating Baylor this early in the year.
One thing I'd
RC,
add
quick
to that, I'd
thoughts.
be curious. I'd be curious to see if they switch their lineup a little bit, right? Would they consider starting some of the freshmen with some of the veteran guys and then bringing in those veteran guys off the bench, right? Would those veteran guys be what they're going to play starters at, starter minutes at the end, But can you throw those young guys in there early so they can lean on them veteran guys to get some experience? Because some of those guys may be a little bit more talented on the offensive end.